10 minutes without so much as a good morning. Ahem. Ahem. Spit it out. We're going to focus on Guildenstern today. Fine. Think you can handle it? I still don't really know anything about him. Some lawyer you are. Apparently I'm all you've got. Did you forget that? If you know anything useful at all, I'd love to hear it. Don't got a clue who Guildenstern was. I see. Sorry for asking. Apology accepted. This'll make it harder to clear you for his death. That's your goal now, truth boy? If you're innocent, then yes. I'm sure. Are you innocent? Think what you like. Seriously? You won't even help me on that? It doesn't matter if I say I did or didn't do it. I'm the defendant. That's not how a court works. You need evidence. From the looks of things, you'd need some to just magically appear to get anywhere. I am not forging anything. You said anything about forgery. Just do what you got to do. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. Give me a reason, Mr. Usarian. Just give me one reason. Prosecution's late. Who is this guy? Order! Court is in session. Bailiff, from these papers I'm reading, it seems Mr. Williamson has requested a temporary leave. That's correct, Your Honor. Although he didn't state a reason. Are you aware of any? Nothing I know of, sir. Well, where's his replacement? The trial was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. She's late. Oh, it's Von Karma or whatever her name was. There she is, and right on time. Von Karma is never late. She arrives precisely when she means to. Phoenix Wright, we meet again. Francisca, fancy seeing you here. Fool! After all these years, that's how you greet me? There was only one prosecutor deserving of this case, and that was me! Francisca Von Karma, the daughter of one of my former rivals and a prosecuting prodigy. He's been overseas for the past few years, working with Interpol. I've been told she's already helped unravel a few big conspiracies. What are you doing back? What am I doing here? I could ask you the same thing. You should have known better than to take a case like this. Well, I had my reasons. We can go over them later. Fool! I don't need to hear your self-rationalization. Why are you here, if I may ask? I was under the impression you were working with the international police these days. An Interpol agent was murdered recently. His killer confessed to having connections with organized crime. No death of an agent under my command will ever go unpunished. Walter Webb, by any chance? Agent Webb was investigating certain people based on accusations of corruption. Our informant, Stephen Jameson, has been found dead. This is no coincidence. You will be filling in for Mr. Williamson then, I take it? Of course. The chief prosecutor personally assigned me to it. He did he? Should I be thanking him, or... Now, the records state that there was some confusion on Jameson's death. Yes! The witness lied on the stand, and I know what happened. We will deal with his demise if the need arises. And the woman. We needn't speak of her at all. Today I intend to cover the other victim, this Guildenstern. Ah, yes! Did they ever find out who he was? The prosecution apologizes for the delay. A quick ID was impossible. Luckily, we had his DNA on file from a recent arrest. He was a criminal? Who? Who was he? It was the serial killer, Virgil Black. But Virgil Black? You mean Sir Galante? He was believed to have escaped from police custody around a month ago. 2 guards were found dead and Black vanished. It seems this was not the case. You look pale. You look pale, Daddy. It's unnerving. 2 people dead, and I knew them both. Virgil Black. That was the last name I expected to hear in this case. Least of all as a victim. He's the whole reason I ever heard about the Revalis family. I guess they weren't finished with him. Do you think the same murderer was responsible? There's no reason not to. In fact, this proves it. Before, there was no motive for Guildenstern. Now we have the perfect one. Revenge for the death of Michael Rivalis. Perfect motive for your perfect case. Ha! What else would you expect? I see there's no argument from you. Of course we still suspect the defendant. The prosecution will present this as proof of the defendant's motive. Let's see. I recognize this. Mr. Wright, haven't we seen this before? This is the same list from the Rivalis penthouse. You're right, it is! Imagine that! Sir Galante is listed on here as a target. It's clear they wanted him dead, even before he took his final victim. Now, let's hear how Mr. Black was killed. I'm glad you asked. We'll have the police coroner give us the full details. Witness, you've been called in to speak more about the victim. Dr. Morton Drazian, sir, and I am the police coroner you speak of. You autopsied Black, correct? Certainly, sir. Nobody else is as qualified to testify on a month-old corpse. I imagine decomposition made matters a bit tricky. That it did. But no matter, Your Honor, sir. Nothing the wonders of forensic science couldn't handle. Oh, sounds confusing. My old mind may not be able to comprehend this process. Of course, if it pleases Your Honor, we will try to keep things simple. Yes, I suppose I could just focus on the autopsy report. Why don't we start with that? My calculations put the death at, roughly 30 days ago. He'd been stabbed, though the wound would not have been fatal. Cause of death was strangulation from a thick rectangular object, source yet unknown. After that, he was buried in the ground, where he remained until just the other day. The science of DNA testing has proven that he was indeed Virgil Black. Eureka! He was stabbed in addition to being strangled? Do you know roughly when that happened? It's hard to say, though the amount of blood in his lungs suggests he lived for some time. He was certainly stabbed a while before he was throttled. There must have been some sort of altercation beforehand. I would presume it was when he was kidnapped from the police. How horrid! Thank you for your report. Straight to the point. I like that. I made sure to include all the necessary details. Prosecutor von Karma was quite pleased. You did well, Doctor. We appreciate your effort. This time of death is rather specific for a month-old body. Can you be that precise? Ah, the wonders of science, yes? It was quite complicated and involved. An analysis of and rate of decomposition plus the acidity of... We don't need the technical details, thank you. His report explains everything. The victim's identity, cause of death, and approximate time of death. Your Honor, it will be submitted immediately. Yes, thank you. Not much to argue with here. It's just the basic facts, so we should treat it like a detective's testimony. We still don't know much about what went on with Black. Now might be a good chance to get some more answers. How did you arrive at that number? Why, forensics, of course. You see, there are a number of variables that would go into the rate of decomposition. Temperature, acidity of the soil, dampness, etc., 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 all leading to one conclusion. 30 days, give or take a few hours. Wow, I never would have guessed the results could be that accurate. Yes, sir. Science is always moving forward, progressing us into the future. If it pleases the defense, we have a separate witness who backs the number up. It happened when the doctor says it did. If the testimonies match up, there's not much to press here. It's probably safe to assume he was killed 30 days ago. How did he die? Where was he stabbed? It was in the upper torso. The blade just nearly missed the aorta. Aorta? For those of us who didn't do well in human biology, what exactly is that? It's a very large artery. Getting stabbed there would be akin to being stabbed in the heart. Mr. Black would have died almost instantly if the blade had connected with it. But it didn't, so nothing vital was damaged. Oh, don't misunderstand me, sir. A stab there would incapacitate any person, even if not fatal. I imagine the blood loss and pain would have rendered the specimen unconscious. Then he woke up later and his attacker realized the mistake. And how do we know that? The cause of death, you see. Mr. Black wasn't killed by a stab wound. How thick was it? Oh, well, that's a relative term. Bigger than a wire, definitely. It wasn't a garrote. I'd say around 4 centimeters. Just under 2 inches. Not a garrote wire and not a pair of hands. What else is available? Once the killer strangled him, what did he do? You're sure his body never left the pit? Well, I would have to assume so. Surely somebody would have reported the body otherwise. And I do not believe the killer would dig him up just to rebury him in the same spot. Logically speaking, there isn't much reason to assume it left the grave. Ah, yes, sir. I was just getting to the identity. Let me continue. How precise is DNA testing? Oh, it's quite accurate, I assure you. No doubting it. Black had been recently arrested. We have an entire set of data on him. Thanks to that, there was very little doubt that Guildenstern was him. Yes, sir. DNA matched right up. We can compare the dental records as well if you'd like. DNA will do. There isn't anything setting off any red flags for me. There isn't a whole lot to question. These are just the basic facts. Sounds right. Kind of like the testimonies Mr. Water would give. In that case, there will be contradictions up the wazoo. I'm telling him he said that. Am I the only one not allowed to make jokes at other people's expense? Thick rectangular object. Well, there's always a shovel. I just had an interesting thought. What if the murder weapon was the same in both cases? The shovel? It's not a thing you'd normally strangle someone with. But take a closer look at the shape of the handle. It's thick, it's rounded, and most importantly... Ah! From that angle, it's shaped like a rectangle! It matches the bruises that Mr. Black had on his neck. Fool! Who strangles a man with a shovel? Didn't Jameson's death show there was a much more efficient way to commit murder with one? That way's also more dramatic, and messier, and noisier too. Mr. Black had already been stabbed in the chest and wasn't going anywhere fast. The killer could kill him more quietly by strangling him instead. Well then, Phoenix Wright, I happen to have the fingerprint reports on hand. Do you think you can prove somebody used it as a weapon before Jameson's death? Look closely at how the prints are positioned, 2 sets in particular. Those 2 handprints are under the bloodstain. The shovel must have been held before Mr. Jameson's murder. Fool! The suspect owned it! Of course he'd carried it before! Look at how the fingerprints are pointing. They're facing the same way. This isn't the way you'd hold a shovel to use it normally. Francisca, would you please hold out your hands like you were going to dig a hole? This way would be really uncomfortable, wouldn't it? But it would be perfectly easy to strangle somebody. Your Honor, we need to have the shovel's handle analyzed further. Yes, we'll have it sent back and see what they find. Bailiff, what are the results? The shovel was analyzed as requested, sir. We have a full report here. Thank you. Ms. Von Karma, would you read it for us? Traces of Virgil Black's DNA were found on the handle, opposite the prints. Aha! Mr. Wright was, well, right. It appears so. Yeep! Don't look at me. It's my job to examine bodies, not evidence. The prints must have been skipped the first time when they saw the bloodstain. What does the report say about the new handprints? Unidentifiable, Your Honor. It wouldn't be possible to identify the killer from them. Ah, no, it wouldn't. Drat, that didn't help much. In fact, that was used twice more or less points directly to the suspect. How could anybody else have stolen it twice without his knowing? That didn't help me at all. Shall we return to our motive? We barely just got started on that. Ah, yes. Leave it to me, sir. Morton Drazian has you covered. Yes, the motive was the same as it was for the other. A mafia assassination. You see, the specimen had been involved in, shall we say, mass murder. The Ravalis family had been his victims, so they wanted to get back at him. And there you have it, sir. The man responsible for that list was tying up loose ends. This seems like detective work. Should you be the one testifying? It's perhaps not what you'd call my area of expertise, sir. But I've said exactly what Mr. Waters or the lady prosecutor would have. The story will be the same, no matter who it's delivered by. Like he said, the prosecution has no fault with the doctor testifying on the motive. Neither should you. Exactly. We are still talking about the specimen, aren't we? I hope you won't take offense with my continuing, Mr. Cicatrice. Mr. who? Why, Mr. Cicatrice, the defense. He means me. Foolish fool! You can't even get his name right! Great Scott, sir! It was a simple mistake! Phoenix Wright! Say it with me! Phoenix Wright! Yep! Phoenix Wright, sir! Phoenix Wright! By Jove, I think I've got it now! He seems more irked about it than I am. At least I'm not the one on the receiving end of that whip. For once. Yes, the motive was the same as... Ah, right. Do we know for a fact that Mr. Jameson was killed as a hit job? It makes sense, does it not? Especially now that we've ID'd Mr. Guildenstern. You can't make that conclusion just based on a card found in the suspect's house. My, aren't we picky today? Let's say Jameson was killed for some other reason. The evidence overwhelmingly suggests that Mr. Black was a hit job. And for the current discussion, that is more important. Yes, that's correct, sir. Allow me to explain more about that. Sure, we can call it that. Are we just using that hit list as proof of the motive? Silly man, Phoenix Wright. Of course the Ravalis family wanted Sir Galante dead. Did you forget what he'd done to them? Let's face it, out of everybody in the world, they would have most reason to hate him. She's correct. There's not much point in questioning it. I can't see any reason to at the moment. Let's just accept it for now. Ah, I'm glad you agree, Phoenix Wright. It does make perfect sense. Now he's using my full name too. I guess all that superheroing came back to bite him, huh? Well, if you call slaughtering upwards of 20 people with a sword being a superhero, then yes. Of course it's not! He was a murderous brute! That's pretty cold-blooded. I'd say it's more anti-hero territory. Let's not forget what he did to the witness stand! I think you're all missing my point. Loose ends? Well, he was the last one on the list, correct? They never got to him. They being the Ravalis family. Well, I suppose it must be them. Or the individual assassin who killed the rest, more specifically. So all these people were killed by the same person? Didn't Miss Porter say something about an assassin? The Ravalis family killed my sister. It's been, a good decade by now. I never let it go. You think my client did it? Hell no. They already knew who shot her, and nobody's seen him in years. Word has it, Michael Ravalis had him killed. Betrayed his own lackey. You're right. He killed her sister, Waters' wife. An assassin who was betrayed by Michael Ravalis. It can't be just a coincidence. The motive is that he was killed for being Sir Galante. Seems pretty good, actually. Yeah, as far as motives go, it's perfect. Maybe we just need to find a way to distance Mr. Yossarian from it. I mean, unless you really think he killed the people in that hit list. There might be something I see, but again, it's almost too easy. Francisca will have a response to it. I'm afraid to find out. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, let's see. Virgil Black. Ah, right, the assassin. Doctor, this assassin, was he Carlo Luciano, by any chance? Egad, yes, you are correct. It seems odd to me that you would know about that man. I had a lengthy discussion about MN6 yesterday. I know who Luciano was and what he did. He was the Ravalis family's top assassin. Then you also know that Luciano is dead and cremated. He has been for years. Did you just press this to remind the rest of us? The hits on that list were all made by Luciano. Are you trying to say he, the man responsible, somehow also killed Virgil Black? Yeah! Fool! You thought I would be foolish enough to say that? Listen to me, Phoenix Wright. The assassin who killed these people is dead. But there were others involved with the planning. Such as the defendant. What? How do you get on the stand? That's right! Records seized from Michael Ravalis' penthouse suggest you were complicit.
Stupid dame! I knew, but that's all. Just about everyone knew. Work in this business, you have to know.
Mr. Ysarian, you don't have to speak about any of this.
Yeah? What do you care? This is why you brought up Luciano, isn't it?
What?
Well, isn't it? Williamson may as well still be at that bench. Listen, all of you. Knowing doesn't make it complicit. When Michael Ravalis ordered something, you didn't question it.
Don't play the fool with me. You are his trusted officer.
Don't make a lick of difference. He would have killed me like anyone else if he got the chance.
You had knowledge of the murders. Admit it. At best, that makes you an accessory. And at worst...
Dagnabbit! You don't have any proof. You can't. They would have destroyed it long ago.
Are you worried yet? I'll admit, I'm a lot more ready to side with Francisco over him. He even tried to call you out. Can't you see? He was worried you'd bring that up. It's not my goal to dig up all the skeletons in his closet. But neither do I want to be defending the mastermind to all those deaths. Is Francisco right about him? Remember, I'm here for the killer. I still don't know what he has to do with any of this.
I'd say this is a sufficient motive. Accomplice or not, he still worked with the family. What is the prosecution's next argument?
We have only one, Your Honor. To prove he's the killer. Then we connect both cases for you. Both Jameson and Black were slain by the same hand. I will show just this. Only somebody involved could have known where the body was buried. With the near-decisive trial yesterday, there's no question who the murderer is. After killing Jameson, the assassin needed a place to dispose the body. Yet the laddie's porter returned to the scene and he fled before it could be done. The fact he even tried digging in the same hole shows he knew what was buried there. With this, all relevant facts have been discussed. He is guilty. Your case rests on the assumption that the two murders might be connected. They are connected. I have just stated why. The most important statement I've made yet today. Why is that?
With 2 murder counts, the prosecution is able to move for a capital sentence.
The death penalty?
Did they forget to mention that the other day? They're really gunning for him.
I had no idea Williamson was pushing that far. Why am I just now finding out about this?
Give up yet, Phoenix Wright? I've finally beaten you.
Not yet. You've made a good point, but let's see if it holds any water.
You will never change. But it's all in vain this time. That man is truly guilty.
How are you sure?
Of course the killer would know where his victim had been disposed. And he never told anyone, or else the crime would have been reported.
Nobody might have stumbled on Mr. Black by accident? It was a month.
Those woods are very isolated. Only 3 people live in the area. one of them is the killer.
Maybe it makes sense, but I don't see anything worth pursuing. Better move on for now.
The trial was extended because the facts weren't clear. False. There was an extension because Obadiah Williamson asked for one. If you had been the one to try that, we would not be here today.
Probably true.
I can restate all the points against you if need be.
Maybe it makes sense, but I don't see anything worth pursuing. Better move on for now. It's a big coincidence both murders happened there.
Then it must not have been a coincidence. Ha! The assassin planned it that way. Jameson was lured to that specific spot.
Maybe it makes sense, but I don't see anything worth pursuing right now. We know she was off somewhere chasing my client.
And he escaped her, yes? He circled back and killed Jameson. He then attempted to bury him, but was swooped off when she returned. That's the same stance they took yesterday.
Can't blame her. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Still, you can't exactly prove it either way.
There were other arguments against Mr. Yossarian. Disproving this won't make any difference.
What would?
What if he was just curious?
Ah! Haven't you been paying attention? That wouldn't be likely at all. You'd have to go out of your way to just get to the forest. And then again to find Virgil Black's grave. The two weren't together by chance. Do you see, Phoenix Wright? The truth is on my side this time. You can't win.
That's up to the jurors to decide.
Yes, if you're so confident, how about we call for a verdict? Let them choose now.
Well, not quite yet.
You know, don't you? There's no chance of a verdict in your favor. The defendant is guilty as sin. You were a fool to side with him.
I have to admit, it's a pretty good argument. The two cases probably are linked somehow. But was Mr. Yossarian the killer? I should look at my evidence one more time and see if there's anything else to consider. Okay. So, present something that hasn't been discussed yet. Okay, crap, I forgot to save. Well, that didn't work. Save, then present something new. Oh, dang it. Your Honor, there's a big hole in this system. Really? I don't see anything wrong with it. You don't? No, it looks perfectly fine to me. Well, maybe I was a bit confused then. Yes, I think you should go back and think things through some more. That apparently wasn't the right answer. Alright, what else hasn't been discussed? Threatening letter. Autopsy. Strangulation. Buried underground. Or moist soil sped up decomposition. Personal objects removed. Not that. Okay, not that. Okay, maybe I need to press something. It's a big coincidence. The assassin? She means whoever killed the two. I don't know, but don't I know there's more? Williamson might be keeping me in the dark, but Francisca wouldn't. Not about this. Now's the perfect time to ask more about this piece of evidence. Oh, awesome! You keep using the word assassin.
Yes, it was hyperbole. Does that bother you?
Maybe you can fill me in. This card was found near the grave. It's for a man both you and I know is a real assassin. Why, exactly, is the prosecution so sure Shelley the killer didn't...
Hold your tongue! No gallivanting off on any crazy theories this time. Listen to me. I don't know what you think that card means, but the killer is not to blame. He wasn't involved with either of those two murders. Not at all. Not one bit.
What? But the card!
Yikes! Do you think I've just been goofing off all this time? I know what I'm talking about. The killer hasn't been seen in this country for years. He was involved in an assassination attempt on a foreign official a long time ago, and he fled the country afterward. Last I knew, he was somewhere in Eastern Europe.
But the card! Williamson told me... What?
I don't care what he told you. Whatever he said, it was a lie.
A lie? No, but maybe one of omission. He had to know. He did it just to get me to take the case.
Well, Mr. Wright, you've asked your question and she answered it. After 2 days of investigation, we still only have one reasonable suspect.
Why didn't I see through it after his trickery at Coraine? The killer had nothing to do with this. Why did I even take this case? I may as well just throw in the towel.
Spiky, can you make a promise?
That depends.
I want you to get to the bottom of this, no matter what. Even if it means defending that man. Jameson gave his life for this, and I think it was to give you a chance.
Me?
Yeah, you. You and Williamson. We've been trying to get at the family at Menderes, but we can never get anywhere. Jameson's being dead might open a chance for that. Family murdered my sister, and Menderes tried to kill your lady friend. Too many people are dying, but you can stop it if you do this right. Really made quite the impression on Jameson. He saw you had it in you. You have what it takes to solve everything.
Miss Porter wants me to solve this, at any cost. She's trusting me to get this done. No, not just her. Jimmy did as well. Is that what he was trying to prove? Is Mr. Yossarian really guilty? That seems too simple. They wouldn't need me to solve that. Everyone's already convinced of it. I'll never be sure if I don't search every single possibility. If I'm not 100% certain of this, Jimmy's death might have been for nothing. I have to press on. Objection! Stop! This trial doesn't end... Ow. This trial doesn't end here.
Phoenix, Wright! I thought you would have thrown out of this silly phase.
Never, Francisca. I'm not giving up until every stone is turned over. Every angle looked at, every possibility discussed, no matter how small.
What is there to talk about? He's guilty. 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 I know that. You know that. Everybody knows that.
We've hardly examined everything. That's also something both you and I know. That's why you're pressing for the trial to end now. There was a witness, and you're afraid of what he might say. You explained the killer, but somebody else knew about Mr. Black's murder. You're so eager to close this case without us meeting your star witness. I know Finnegan Hood saw the murder, and so do you. Why avoid it?
But fool! I wasn't avoiding anything. The case had been sufficiently explained.
Nevertheless, we should hear from the witness.
As the court wishes. If the defense wants me to further prove his client guilty, so be it. I have no qualms. If it's the truth you want, then it's the truth you'll get. The prosecution calls its next witness. Your Honor, he is waiting for us in the lobby.
Excellent. You may have some time to prep him. This court is now in recess.
Well, that sounds like a good place to stop this.